Kreature Korner. What's ghouling on, my funky fiends? It's me, the Grand Duke of Spook, Kris Bell, bringing you a little something different tonight. That's right, I've been reading top headlines in the news, and tonight's headline reads, "The legendary skunk ape is real."
I fucking knew it! Oh!
That can only mean one thing. We're gonna have to go on a cryptid hunt tonight. Spooky woodshot, spooky woodshot, spooky woodshot. Oh my God, we're running.
Oh my God.
Last night, it smelled kind of a skunky smell.
But we're not just gonna do the normal cryptid hunt thing where I walk around in the woods and spooky noises happen occasionally. No, while I do my cryptid hunt tonight, we're gonna talk about a movie that maybe you've heard me talk about on some of my live streams, A Ghost Waits. And I have an exclusive interview with writer-director and the star, Adam Stovall and Macleod Andrews. But first, let's zip outside and see what kind of spooky cryptids we find. All right, my funky fiends, here we are, in the wilderness where cryptids live. Let's venture into the woods while we talk about this new movie coming from director Adam Stovall called A Ghost Waits. That's right, we're gonna be interviewing Adam tonight here on the show with, what was that? What's this stuff here? Looks like a wind chime. What's behind this tree? What is this? It's right here. It's a bag of tough nut from Petal Java. What? All the way out here in the wilderness. Well, good thing I brought my coffee cup. Let's go ahead and set up base camp here. So as always, before we got into the creepy, we had to get into the coffee. So, granted by nature, tonight's coffee is Tough Nut from Petal Java. Now, I'm gonna stay out here in the woods and listen for some more spooky specters or creepy cryptids that might be creeping around. But while I wait, you guys enjoy this new interview segment here with Adam Stovall and Macleod Andrews in an oldie but a goodie, interview with a campfire. And we'll be right here, tune in till the end of the episode to see if maybe we run into anything out here in the woods.
Interviews with a campfire.
What's ghouling on, my funky fiends? It's me, you see, back with another one, the Grand Duke of Spook, Kris Bell, bringing you another fantastic interview with a campfire. But I have two campfires today. My two awesome new campfires that I have met are independent filmmaker Adam Stovall and producer and star of this new movie that I'm about to tell you about extraordinaire, Mr. Macleod Andrews. Gentlemen, say hello.
Hello.
Or at the same time. They're
1,
professionals.
2, 3. Hello.
I love this already. We're three best friends, and we just started talking.
We're adorable.
We are, right?
Which is what you want in a horror podcast, I think.
This is the best intro I've ever had.
I know. I want Kris to just walk around with us at all times and introduce us in any room.
You know what? I'm here for you. Absolutely.
Adam would like a Whopper.
Boom, boom. Get this man. Two baddies, piece of cheese and some bread. That's what my man wants. All right, so we are here today to talk about this amazing film, and I'm not exaggerating when I say amazing film, A Ghost Waits. So this film premiered February 1st, am I correct?
On Arrow, yes.
On Arrow, yes. On Arrow Video over there, you can check out Arrow's streaming platform. They have all kinds of awesome films over there. And so this not only aired there on Arrow,
but you also had an awesome run at all kinds of festivals all over the place, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we had our world premiere at Fright Fest Glasgow last March, just before the world shut down.
Right.
And then, yeah, we played Fright Fest. They did a virtual festival for the one in London, and we played that. Scream Fest, a bunch of stuff. This week we're in Nevermore Festival in North Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been great.
Ramaskrik.
Yes.
Ramaskrik,
Yeah.
Dead and Stud Buried.
And then Scream Fest out in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that was a
You
blast.
won your big
that
award,
was yeah.
right? Best film and best director. Yeah.
And best actor, yeah.
And
Yeah,
best
don't leave
actor?
me hanging.
Hey, I'm so oh God. See, you're too humble. You over.
clearly that's it.
I was talking to Adam, not.
Oh, okay.
It was amazing, like, because we also we won Best Actor, Director, and Picture at Fright Fest, but I had been told that they didn't do awards because Alan Jones, who is one of the directors of it, had told McLeod, like, if we did awards, you would win Best Actor. What I didn't know is that Total Film Magazine does awards for it. So one morning I just like wake up at 6 a.m. to go to the bathroom and grab my phone, and there's just like a billion notifications. Like, wait, what?
Oh my God. That's the best thing to wake up to, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, my film and me won a bunch of awards. Holy shit.
Oh, it was the best pee ever. And then when we played Scream Fest, they do awards, and I had a feeling that McLeod would win. And that's my own bias maybe, but I also was just like, so when it came time for the award, there it is.
Boom.
There
oh my
it is.
God, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
The most beautiful award you've ever seen.
Oh my God. I'm in love with it.
Stan Winston made that thing.
That's even cooler. Yeah. Whoa. That's a piece of history right there, my friend. And it's got your name on it.
It does. Boom.
Right there it is.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm so
Adam's
happy.
got 2 over his shoulder. No big
Yeah, I
deal.
see him back there in the corner hiding.
Yeah.
All I have is my stupid name. So some Dollar Tree Halloween decoration. All right. Consider me for some awards out there in the podcast world. I don't know what we get, but
The potties.
Why are
Are they really called the potties?
No.
why is that not
I don't think so. I don't know. I just pulled that out of my ass.
Thank you for the third.
That's kind of
Yes. I mean, they have the Razzies, so
Yeah.
okay, the potties. Cool. So we got to talk about A Ghost Waits
Yeah.
film. We want to hang out, but we got to talk
Yes.
about this movie.
Yeah.
This movie. So it got sent to me, sadly, after the Arrow release, but it took me by such surprise because the description of it. First of all, in my day-to-day life, I am a maintenance man. I'm a handyman.
Oh, fantastic.
This is what I do. So,
nice.
What kind of property do you work on?
I work on apartments. I actually maintain 456 units.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I was a maintenance man at a private school in LA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Just bonding over everything.
I don't know if I was ever a maintenance. No, I did do maintenance at a custard shop, but a lot of my time was spent doing landscaping.
My very first job when I was 14 years old was grounds maintenance at the Commonwealth Hilton in Florence, Kentucky. So that was a lot of landscaping.
See, my first job, I worked at a golf course.
There you go.
Were you a caddy?
I wasn't. I was in charge of cleaning the golf carts.
Oh, okay.
Greatest job ever. Money,
Yeah.
money, and had to do nothing. So
Yeah.
Wait. So this film, when I first got it and I was reading over the synopsis of it and everything, I was like, what a weird just premise, first of all, for the whole thing.
I know. What's wrong with that guy that writes this shit? You know?
But the way that it was described as this spectral horror rom-com, I was like, okay, let's do it. And it, like, I got so caught up in the comedy of it at first. Like, it was so much fun. I was having so much fun watching it. I got so sucked in that all of a sudden, like, you've got me teary-eyed over here, McLeod, towards the end. Like you out of nowhere, you're like, oh, did you want to feel today? That's what you're doing. So I gotta know, because from the way that you shot it, the practical effects, did you all do your own music? I have so many questions. Let's just start at the beginning. So what did it take to get this film off the ground and get it started?
Friendship and willpower.
That's what starts every film.
McLeod and I had spent a year trying to get another movie made and felt like we got really close. And when it didn't happen, I took it really hard. And I went back to Northern Kentucky, which is where I'm from,
Yes.
and kind of had my tail between my legs. And while I was there, my friends Brian and Jen Price had me. They're big video game people. I don't play a lot of video games, as will become very clear in a second. But they had me come over to play a game called PT, which is this first-person haunted house puzzle game designed by Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro. It's great. It is awesome. Impossible to find now because they pissed off Sony so severely that Sony just like scorched the earth of it. So the only way to have it now is if you downloaded it then and didn't delete it from the hard drive.
Of course.
But so I played that and I had them just cracking up laughing because I was reacting to a haunted house as the way I would. So like something creepy happens and I'm just like, nope. Don't need to explore that.
I'm going in there. No.
But you're never going to win the game. You have to. You have to go look around the corner at the crying baby, Adam.
Yeah. It turns out this is why I play sports games. And like I recently discovered walking simulators. And I was just like, yeah, that's all I want. I just want to explore a world and not fight anybody.
I don't want any information.
Yeah. So I played. So yeah, like, so that happened. And I had the idea just watching their reaction. Like, you know, I don't think I've ever seen a haunted house movie with like centered on a character like me.
Yes.
And then around that time, there's this webcomic called Saturday Morning Breakfast Cereal. I saw one where a guy asked this lady, you know, what do you think is the most American movie? And McLeod's taken off because he's had to hear me tell this story so many times.
I'm out of here.
But he's got the comic. Great.
The comic.
There it is.
So yeah, he asks her, what do you think is the most American movie? And she says Ghostbusters, because here's this movie where you have demonstrable proof of an afterlife, but the whole thing is about growing a small business and navigating government bureaucracy. And I was like, well, that's hilarious. But also, yeah, you're right. Like, ghosts do mean there's an afterlife. I would have so many questions.
Absolutely.
And so that kind of gave us the spine of the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then just as luck would have it, you know, one of the investors that we'd met trying to put together the previous film was talking to our mutual friend Nick Thurkettle and asked him like, hey, what's Adam working on right now? Like, whatever happened to that movie? And Nick said, oh, he's got this like weird haunted house idea. And so MF Thomas is who I'm talking about, our executive producer. You know, he calls me and asks about it. And I didn't have a script. I walked him through the story and he was like, oh yeah, that sounds really good. Okay, I'll give you X amount of money. And I was like, okay. And my mom had said, you know, when you guys have a number, let me know. And like, if we can help, we will. So I called my mom and I said, we have X. If you can match it, I think we can make a movie. And she talked to her husband. They talked to their accountant. And like a couple days later, called me. I was at Plum Street Cafe in downtown Cincinnati with Brian Price again. Yes. And she called and said, we'll send you the money tomorrow. And I started crying and then was like, oh shit, I have to write a script now.
Now I have to do something with this.
Yeah. And that was what kicked it off.
But in you saying that, you know, how would I react into a scary movie like that? McLeod had one of my favorite lines that I've ever seen in a horror movie, where you're talking about the other spirit that's shown up and you're like, oh, don't worry, if you wanted to show up, just give me a second to walk around this blind corner. That's perfect. So there's so many things that I would have reacted in the same way. Like, just nope, like that, nope, see ya.
Yeah.
So it speaks to people on a personal level, I think.
I always say, like, I don't really start writing something until I don't think it works, because then I have a puzzle to solve.
Yes.
And in the case of this, especially because I didn't have my usual 3 years to write something with no one checking in, because who gives a shit if nobody's writing a spec script? you know, I had people.
Right.
I had people watching. And so I was, you know, just writing, and like it really was just a very pure, like, you know, at this point I came to horror kind of late. I was actually a comedy nerd growing up, and then my sister's ex-husband, when I would like visit when they were still together, he was just like, it is stupid to me that you've never seen this movie, and so he would just show me horror movies when I would visit.
Yes.
And in doing that, I was like, oh my God, there's so much more to this genre than I thought. And so just, you know, and we started going to like Exhumed Fest in Philadelphia, which is a 24-hour horror and exploitation movie marathon.
Wow.
Like just stuff like that. And like, so when it comes time to write one, it's like, it's not just something that I really love about 21st century storytelling is that the audience doesn't need to be told they're watching a movie. They know they are.
Yes.
So you can write something that speaks to the experience of watching the movie while you're also telling a story in the world of the movie. You know, it's Jordan Peele calling the movie Get Out, and it's like he's like, I know what they're gonna say in the theater. I want to get ahead of them. Yeah. And so yeah, it was just like, you know, why can't we just? I'm in a ghost movie. Like, I'm going to fight it for a second, but then part of my, you know, because obviously mental health is a big part of this movie. Part of my depression is just like, nothing makes sense. Like, why is everybody so upset about something that's just like largely a construct?
Yes.
So, you know, yeah, it was then fun to know like, okay, we don't have any money, but what we can do is be really creative and like use the narrative to do stuff that we haven't seen anywhere else.
Right. And I can 100% say that I have never seen that narrative before. Just
thank you.
Absolutely. And so, Macleod, how did you really, you know, get into the headspace? Is that ad lib? Is that a lot of you that it's thrown into the script, or is that Adam's writing that's kind of coupled with you?
Yeah, I'd say the latter. I mean, like there is some improv in there. There is some stuff that's just me riffing on Adam's writing, but I love Adam's writing. I think it's simultaneously so empathetic and like emotionally present. Like you can really feel what's going on dramatically with the character. It's very sensitive, but it's also funny. Like and not always just funny, not set up punchline, but just fun. It's like the way that like the thought patterns of the characters is just fun. It's fun to tease them out. It's fun to then you know, add flourishes to it and improvise on it. So you know, it's mostly the dialogue's mostly written, but there's flourishes here and there that are my touches and Natalie's touches. And yeah,
well, I gotta say the chemistry between you two on screen was phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I absolutely fell in love with the two.
Can you believe they met on set?
Really?
We didn't do a script read or anything. They met on set.
Holy cow. I thought you guys had been like this was a group of, you know, people you've known for a long time.
No, in fact, the very first thing Natalie shot is the scene when she sings to Jack.
Wow. And see that right there, that's one of those really emotional kind of scenes that just to come in cold like that. And
yeah, Natalie Walker's amazing.
I was gonna say I have a whole just even more respect for you all in this film now, because holy crap. So I also loved the makeup, and kind of like, I feel like anymore with practical effects, people love to say they love practical effects, but then they don't really want to go the mile that they need to make it work. So the way that you all did this movie, and like you said, people are aware they're watching a movie. Get it. So the makeups and the different practical effects that you all used, along with the kind of black and white coloration of everything, really for me gave it kind of a Psycho feel to it, not in the story so much, but in the look of it, where you were able to get away with these really nice crisp practical effects, but something in color, if you had to color grade it and do all this stuff to it, I think it kind of lost where you were going.
I agree. we discovered that quite tangibly.
We did shoot in color.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was wondering if that was my next question: is did this start as a black and white?
It's funny in pre-production, such as it was. I actually wanted to make it in black and white, and I was on a location scout with my with the UPM, Chenny Chen, and I told her that I was like, I think I want to make the movie in black and white, and she said, no, absolutely not, because like quite rightly, we got a lot of no's from distributors and festivals simply because of black and white. It's a hard sell these days.
Really?
So we shot it in color. We had planned to release it in color. I still have a little thing on my computer that's like the mock-up of what Muriel was going to look like in color, in After Effects. But so like Prince of Photography, Michael Potter shot the movie, and he used his camera, which is a Blackmagic 4K, which is our Blackmagic Ursa Mini, which is a 4K, and then mine, Blackmagic Pocket Cinema, which is a digital 16. And he also had like a minimal lighting rig, but then we had to do a couple sets of pickups that I shot because we ran out of money and couldn't bring anybody back. Sure. So I was using my camera exclusively, but also natural light outside of one scene that we just couldn't do. We just couldn't use natural light. We went to Home Depot and bought some work lamps. So when I edited the movie together and started trying to color correct, it never quite the visual cohesion that I wanted, it never quite matched up. Sure. And I was just driving myself crazy. And then one day McLeod said, hey, have you thought about making it in black and white? And I said, you beautiful bastard, I have.
Finally.
And so we dropped a black and white LUT on it, which is a color correction algorithm. It was a very simple thing, but like the second we saw it in black and white, especially the second we saw Muriel in black and white, it was like, yep, that's the movie.
Yes.
And we got really lucky. Ari Rothschild gave us a really sweetheart deal. And I just spent 2 days in his apartment in Brooklyn watching him work magic and make it the movie that you see now.
Yes.
I think something that I've kind of discovered through this, I've started kind of believing, is that I think people confuse simplicity with ease.
Yes.
And because we didn't have a lot of money, we were just like, you know what? Simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. That's going to be the name of the game. Let's not try to make it look like we had more than we did, because you can always tell that you didn't. It looks kind of crappy. Right. Like, let's just own the fact that we're making this for less than a base level Mercedes cost. And like, just, you know, and I mean, I also like Ingmar Bergman's my favorite director. Yeah. So the crispness, the resolute nature of the camera, you know, the stationary, and just it worked. It was all kind of a piece. Yeah. And that North Star of simplicity, of just, let's not try to overthink this, let's not try to do too much, let's just live in our wheelhouse and be okay with that.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's also just, where do you focus your creativity? You know, it's like, do you spend an entire day trying to figure out how to do a crane shot with no crane? Like, or do you just spend out like your entire day figuring out what's the best way to tell this story? What's the most interesting story? What's the best dialogue for this scene? Like, what's something and put your energy there into the story and the characters. You know, I love a beautiful camera move, but if you don't have the equipment or the time or the resources, then just focus on what you can do, the thing that only you can do, and that's tell your story.
Right. And there's a lot of beautiful shots in the film. I mean, side views and things like that, little nice cameos between you and Muriel shot together that look gorgeous. And like you said, people like to confuse simplicity with ease. And I don't know if you're familiar with director Josh Hasty, who just recently came out with a film a couple of years ago called Candy Corn.
My friend Ryan Lewis worked on that.
Yes,
he shot it.
Candy Corn.
Awesome.
The few times that I've spoken with him, he always says he's amazed that any movie gets made ever, because the budget that you think you'll need is nowhere near what you're ever going to need, and in your eyes, it's never going to be enough or perfect. So staying in your wheelhouse and working with what you have, and like McLeod said, putting that energy into, let's tell this story right, because it didn't matter that it wasn't some Marvel quality cinematic, thing that had all this CGI and crazy shit going on. I got invested in the story. And I think a lot of people lack story anymore.
There's a moment in I think it's Sidewalks of New York. It's an Ed Burns movie. On the commentary, there's a scene between Heather Graham and Stanley Tucci. They're in their apartment, they're having a fight, and he says, on a real movie, on like a movie with a big budget, you take a day and you take Heather and Stanley out, and you shoot a bunch of pictures, and then you put those pictures in frames on the wall, and he's like, but if I'm doing my job, you should not be looking at the wall behind these characters. You should be focused on the drama that's happening.
Yes.
And that's a key lesson, I think, is like, it's really easy, especially, and I'm obviously not talking about anybody specific here. I think a lot of people, especially these days, and especially in independent film and especially in horror, you get a lot of guys who are, and almost exclusively guys, honestly, who grew up loving movies, and so they want to make a movie because they love movies. They don't necessarily have anything to say, but they want to be at the party. They want people to call them a filmmaker. They want to say action and cut, and and so they can really get into the trappings of the pictures on the wall and all this stuff, and like that's the mise en scène. But like then you watch the movie and you're like, there's no drama, there's no stakes. I don't believe these characters.
Exactly. And because it doesn't matter. You could have a world-class actor in your film. If there's no substance in the dialogue, they can't pull anything out of a character that you didn't create for this film. So, I mean, some people can't, whatever.
I know, it's that thing of like, I'd watch them, read the phone book. It's like, would you really?
Yeah. I don't think you actually, maybe for about 5 minutes, maybe, but I don't think so. So now you guys, I feel like, kept a lot of the production in-house.
Yes,
right. And I say that because even like
call it a house feels generous.
In the closet.
Literally. Yeah.
Well, did you also cover the score of the film yourself? I know a lot of the songs and
no, I wasn't trying to stop you.
No, yeah. A lot of the songs I really enjoyed the feel of them and the way that it did mesh in well with the feel of the film and I'm complimenting you a lot. I know, but I really
appreciate it. It's really, I feel great.
I loved the whole film, just everything about it. So the score.
So Margaret Darling is a friend of mine. She's a musician in Cincinnati, or she was a musician. This was kind of her last thing. She's moving into a new phase of her life now. But she was in a band called the CD Seeds. And I always kind of thought they had kind of a Radiohead-esque approach to music that's like patterns, and it's very mathematical, but it's just like very emotional math.
Right.
And I remember thinking like, man, I bet she'd be really good at this. And so when this became a viable project, and I was talking to her because we wrote the song at the end that Muriel sings to Jack, she and I wrote together.
Wow.
And in the course of that, it was so much fun. And it's also just like, I can't believe I'm working with this musician that I love and respect. I was like, hey, what do you think about doing some score for the movie? And she thought it sounded like a cool challenge. So, she worked on that and gave us, some really great stuff. And so half the score is her. Well, then, we have a world premiere of Fright Fest Glasgow, and in the house is Mitch Bain. And Mitch does a podcast with Andy Stewart called Strong Language and Violent Scenes. And he asked me on, and we had a great time talking about Gremlins 2 because it's one of my favorite movies. And we just stayed friends afterwards. And he would send me stuff that he was working on. He's a musician. And one of the tracks that he sent me was just great. And I sent it to Macleod. And Macleod said, it's a shame we can't, have him do some music for the movie. And I said, well, why can't we? Let's just ask. Yeah. And Mitch was really excited at the challenge. And so, half the score is Margaret and half the score is Mitch.
Wow. And then one Easter egg is the scoring underneath the song that Adam wrote with Margaret is actually just Organ is the organ from Years Go By, pitch corrected like 5 or 6 different ways and layered on top of one another to create the organ that's her kind of spectral organ that she plays the piano on.
Yes. And what a fun little Easter egg. And now Easter eggs and little bonus content that are coming with this video release. Yes?
Yeah. The Blu-ray comes out May 3rd. You can pre-order it now.
Good.
And yeah, there's 2 Easter eggs on it. There's a lot of bonus features. There's 8 cast and crew interviews. There's 3 commentaries. There's a video essay by Isabel Custodio, who does the Be Kind Rewind YouTube channel.
It's so good.
I mean, it's nuts. And then, yeah, if you can find them, there's two little treasures.
There's also outtakes.
There's
Everybody
outtakes.
loves outtakes.
There's an interview and a Q&A from Fright Fest Glasgow. There's probably something else that I'm forgetting.
There's too much to remember.
There's so much.
It's jam-packed is what you're trying to say.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of physical media, if you can't tell. And so like when Arrow, whose bread and butter is this, acquired it, I was like, well, I may never get to make a second Blu-ray, so let's do this.
Let's do it max. So May 3rd, that becomes available, but you can pre-order it right now. Where do they need to go to pre-order it?
In the US, it's Diabolique. And then if you go to, so there's a Twitter account for the movie at A Ghost Waits, and we've tweeted the links for it's available in the UK, US, and Canada.
And that's something else I meant to mention is that you guys have had releases in the US, UK, and Canada, which is huge.
Yeah. No, it's pretty amazing.
You know, they told me, they're like, well, we're sending you this film. It's been released in the UK and Canada. I was like, I'm getting, Mr. International over here.
We're very fancy. You can tell from McLeod's hat.
Right. I just got tired of looking at my stupid pandemic hair.
Yeah.
We've all had it. So, guys, you got to tell me now, what is something, if you could change about the film, would you change anything at all?
Oof. I mean, yeah, there's probably tons of stuff. I mean,
Isn't that like the meanest question ever to ask?
It's so hard to stop. It's so hard to stop. And I'm I'm a super meticulous, nitpicky person. So I like sound design, at least. There's tons of things that I'm like, oh gosh, let's I'd like to take a whole nother swing at this. Just redo all of it. But Adam, anything pop up specifically in your mind?
I mean, honestly, I really like this movie, and I don't think so. I mean, there were moments along the way where it's like, oh, if we could bring Natalie back, this movie might be, it might be better if we could add a scene of this or, but so when we when we made this, I was in a really bad place, and just the reason that depression and suicidal ideation are such a prominent part of the movie is because it's a very prominent part of my life.
Absolutely.
And things had not been going well. I had tried to get a job at Subway, and it wasn't sandwich artist material. You just start wondering if you're even supposed to be here, and making a movie I wanted to do it since I was 8 years old. And so when this became, it's like, okay, we get to do this, and we don't have a lot of money, but that can't be an excuse, we have to make the best thing we can. And so much of that, it kind of goes back to when we were talking about simplicity. We can't say, oh, if the movie is bad at the end of the day, it's bad because I didn't make it good. It's not bad because we didn't have money. It's not bad because we didn't have a better house or, different actors or whatever. If the movie is bad, it's because I didn't make a good movie. And once that becomes the thing, then all you worry about is like, okay, well then let's never try to make anything beyond what we have. Let's never lament what's not there. Let's celebrate and use what is.
Right.
So, yeah, like if we sat down and said that if, it's like, oh man, somehow we get to do it all over again. Like, if somebody, I don't remember who it was, but like there was somebody that was like, it's a chance that this movie gets remade with a budget and a star. And I was just like, well, I don't know what that looks like, but okay.
Right.
If that's the case, if we have, $5 million in Chris Evans, then it's like, or $10 million, I guess, or 20, or this is why I don't make big, because I'm just like, if we had that, it's like, Adam, that's nothing. That's a Blumhouse budget, buddy. But like, so the point of it was never to think about what we could have if things were different. It was to own how things were. And, we worked on it for 5 years. We shot, principal photography was August 2016 in the middle of a heat wave in a house with no air conditioning. Like, and how you're in Tennessee, how it gets.
Oh yeah.
But like, it was just like, fine, this is how things lay, and we worked on it for 5 years, and I don't think either one of us would have like planned to put it out in the midst of a global pandemic when like we're all in quarantine and I can't hug my best friend when we win awards.
Right.
But what's the point in complaining when this tiny little personal movie that I made on my fucking laptop is being released in all these countries and winning awards, and people are loving it, and like it means so much. Like, no, I don't think I change anything.
That is exactly the answer I wanted to hear. I wanted to.
I'm sorry, I didn't give you the right answer.
McLeod, I gave you an opportunity.
I was looking at it from a different perspective. I understood the question differently.
This is why
it's a good thing you're pretty.
See, though, it makes me so happy to know that you've stuck your name on it and it's yours and you are proud of it. And
yeah,
screw it, I wouldn't change anything because it is great the way you made it, and that's the way it needs to be. Can
I tell you funny little story? We talked earlier about like the awards and the Screamfest. So like I said, I had a feeling McLeod would win Best Actor, and I wanted to be there. And so we're, I'm parked up front right next to where the awards are happening. He's parked in the back.
Yes.
They get through the shorts. Best Actor, McLeod Andrews at Ghost Waits. And I'm like screaming as I grab my mask and jumping out of the car, just like, yes! And he's in the back. So it takes him a minute. And I'm just like up there just freaking out. And, we do a little dance, and he goes up and like accepts it and gives a little speech and comes back. And we're just like, yes, yes, yes. And we don't hear what they say. We missed the first part. So all we hear is a Ghost Waits. Yes. And McLeod's like, go, go, go. We won something. And so I walk over and I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry. I missed the first part. What's this for? And they said, Best Picture. And I said, holy shit. And that's how my first ever acceptance speech began. And I was like, McLeod, get over here. And, we give our little speech, and then we go back to dancing and freaking out. And they, Best Actress, so-and-so, she can't be here, we accept for her. Best Cinematography, so-and-so, he can't be here, we accept. And I was like, oh, okay, so they've given out the awards for people who are here, and now it's going to be who's not. Sure. So we're just having a little moment, and they say, and that brings us to the last award of the night, Best Director, Adam Stovall, Ghost Waits. And I walked over like, I don't have anything else to say. I said it all first, like before, like, it's such a stupid cliche to say like you couldn't write it this way. Like, of course you could, but who would want to?
Right.
But like all these weird little moments that we've had, and they've all like, what's been so nice is to like go through this with my best friend, mm-hmm. and to get to be very genuine, and like never. I think neither McLeod nor I are very entitled people, and so it's genuinely amazing when this stuff works. I always say it's a miracle this movie works. Like, if you knew all the stories, like, I cannot believe this happened. We pulled it off. Like, it's like a heist.
A very slow, meticulous heist.
Yes.
But
that at the end of it, we walk away with very little money.
It's like the music dun 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 dun, and it's just. What if you cut?
What if we brought it in 3 frames earlier?
What if you brought it in a little bit earlier? Yeah, like there, like because yeah.
I don't think the scene is working. Well, it has to work. It's doing a thing that's important. I just don't think the scene is working. Well, do you have a better idea? I do, actually.
Yeah. See, but that's what makes a good team. You need a team of people, and it looks like you had one of the best teammates you could have had.
Yeah. We're now partners in our production company, and I hope that I never make a movie without him.
Yes. I hope that.
Because this was my first thing as a director, and I never even made a short film. I attempted to, and it fell apart in spectacular fashion.
Hey.
I learned so much. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest things is the power dynamic of being a director, and even though I don't view myself as being above anybody, any of my collaborators, they do, because I'm the director.
Yes.
And that was a really hard thing to kind of get past. And you don't internalize it, because that's how you become David O. Russell and everybody hates you. But and don't cut that. He should know he's a dick if he doesn't already.
Don't you worry.
Everyone hates you, David.
Yeah.
Be better.
Be a better person. Not hard.
But, it's and the trust and the comfort of just, Macleod and I, we talked this morning, and it occurred to me that it was the first time we talked that wasn't on a work or press call in a while, just because we both are so busy.
Right.
But it never feels like work. This doesn't feel like work. It feels like we're hanging out.
Absolutely.
And that's it's such a privilege anyway to make a movie, but to get to make a movie with your friend who is also such a talented collaborator, I never thought I was a lucky person, but man, I got lucky.
Well, you guys work so well together, and you've seen the strife and you've seen the shit that you have to go through to do these things. So, Adam, in your position now, what would you tell that young director that's on his 3rd year of trying to get this movie made, and he's about to give up and say, screw it, what's it worth to even put up with all this shit? What's your advice to that guy or lady, that guy or gal?
I think the best trait you can have as a filmmaker is respect. Mm-hmm. Respect your collaborators, respect their time and their process, respect your investors, respect your audience, respect your story, and respect yourself. Have patience with yourself as well as with others. Your job is to run through walls, mm-hmm. and it gets tiring after a while. And if you can do it with somebody else, do that, because then you can you can have a day where you hand it off to them and just say I just can't today. I just can't. And they'll take it, and you recharge your battery, and then you get back. But there's mutual respect and there's trust. Mm-hmm. And that is, and just absurd resilience. You should be making something that you need to make.
Right.
You should be saying something that you need to say. I always say, this is the movie that I wish existed when I was 15 years old, just to make me feel less alone.
Yes.
That needs to be, I don't know that that needs to be your North Star, because I'm very wary of generalizing and saying there's a monolithic anything.
Right.
But yeah, if you're making your first movie, just know that it's not always going to make sense to you, but as long as you're being genuine, I think there's a prism in my chest, because you're making a million decisions a day, and
right.
You don't have time to think about everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I always say the light hits the prism, and I know what color I'm looking for.
Yes.
As long as you're making something genuine and that you care about, you're going to make something that you're at least proud of. And
right.
Maybe it doesn't get into festivals, and maybe it doesn't get distribution, but most people but you made something that you're proud of, and that's a win.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic advice. Absolutely fantastic advice. And Adam, or Adam, what am I doing? McLeod, same question to you, but from an actor standpoint, you know, somebody's trying to break into the business, somebody that's been told no 1,000 times on auditions. What do you say to that person?
I mean, I think find collaborators, find writers and directors and people who you can make things with, who you can sort of take control of, you know, your own destiny with, so that you don't have to wait for permission anymore, so that you don't have to like wait for a casting director to hire you or for an agent to pick you up or a manager, so that at the end of the day, you know, I'm at a place where, you know, I've been fortunate enough to make movies with a couple of friends, and Adam included, where I'd be hard pressed for somebody to convince me to, you know, go to a project that I'm going to be happier with, that I'm going to be prouder of my work. You know, and when you work with friends and people you respect and know, you can also, your voice can be a little bit louder in the room, and you can put a little bit more of yourself into the projects as well, which is fun. I mean, yeah, I mean, I read actually a really helpful article I found anyway in like Backstage magazine or something, that it was like the headline was like very salacious. It was how to know when to quit acting, like or something like that. Right. You know, and but the point of it essentially was like, you never can, you never will. It doesn't matter if you become like a manager at a paper company, right. Like or decide to go back to school and become a lawyer, or you know, just, you know, wherever your life takes you, like being an actor is how you perceive the world and how you empathize with people. It's sort of, it's the way you think about the different possibilities of yourself, and the way you reflect upon yourself and you know, search internally, is all kind of part of the acting process. And so the answer is like never. You'll never quit being an actor, whether you're in a movie or in theater or doing voiceovers or not. Like you're an actor. So, and
that is the answer I was looking for, McLeod.
If I can piggyback on that for 1 second.
Hop on there. You
got it. Yeah.
Because there's something I would like to tell actors as well.
Yes.
Something I've learned through this process is that like casting, like the process of casting, you're trying to find somebody who's 100% right for the character. You know, the reason I think this movie works as well is because everybody who played a character had it in their bones. Right. You know, so I'm not precious about the script, but it was always, we're not talking about the script. We're talking about the character. How would they react? What kind of music do they listen to? Yeah. The thing is, 99% looks a lot like 100%, and it's pretty good. Craft can get you to 99, discipline can get you to 99, but instinct is what gets you to 100. And so when you're trying to get into this world, when you're trying to make your living as an actor, and you face just an ungodly amount of rejection, I think it's key for people to remember that, and I'm not saying this is always the case, like it's also very political, but when you're not cast in something, I think it's key to remember, like, well, maybe it's because you weren't 100% right for the role, and they found someone who is, you know, and you wouldn't serve that role as well as that person will, but that, you know, but that you shouldn't then take that as like, I need to be somebody else, right? Because you can't be somebody else. You have to be yourself. But if you do that, if you live within yourself and you understand yourself and you actualize yourself, like you will find the role that you are 100% right for, and that, you know, even if it is a tiny little movie, you're going to get to travel the world and win awards possibly because you did something honest.
And, you know, to what McLeod said, also, when you're working with your friends, you're able to kind of let yourself, you're not as reserved. You're not so scared that you're going to make an ass out of yourself.
You're not worried you're going to get fired. Yeah,
exactly. Nobody's going to fire me for saying the wrong thing here, or, you know, speaking out of turn. And in return with that, you have this beautiful reel that you can send out to people of your true self, showing your true colors and everything you've got in you. So yeah. Absolutely fantastic advice from two fantastic people.
I watched a reel the other night that I was just like, this is just faces saying words. Like, what is happening? You know?
It's a
And
lot
I
of
felt really
TV.
bad. What?
That's a lot of TV.
Yeah. You know, it's just like, this is not acting. This is
Right.
just recitation.
Mhm.
It's a lot of TV.
And I felt bad thinking that, but like, you know, it's when you get a chance, when your pitch comes through and it's right in that sweet spot, like
Yes.
don't swing if it's not, but like, because eventually you'll get your pitch and just swing away.
Swing away.
To quote Signs, that
Signs
great
real quick.
landmark of cinema.
I was about to say, to quote, just, so good. Swing away.
To
baby.
quote the greatest film of all
The greatest
time.
film of all
Signs.
time. Signs. So, Adam McLeod, thank you so much for being here with me today and taking time to talk about your fantastic film, A Ghost Waits.
Thank you, Kris.
Thank you. This was a real treat.
That makes me so happy to hear that. You know, I try to have.
You succeed.
Yeah.
So, Adam, tell the people out there where they can find you on the internet.
Instagram, I'm not Adam S. Twitter at Adam Stovall and at A Ghost Waits.
And those two.
And we have a website, ghostwaits.com you can go to. Like, that's fun. Yeah. Arrow-player.com, watch the movie.
Right? You got to go to Arrow. I mean, come on.
If you do that now, so you get a 30-day free trial, and then if you use the promo code Arrow UK Launch, all caps, you get 50% off your first 3 months.
Whoa. So that right there in and of itself is worth it because
And they've got a great library. They got Park Chan-wook and Lars von Trier and then Ramsey. Like, it's so good.
they sent me this big list of stuff that they're releasing on March 1st is in their new lineup. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah, Jill's movie The Stylist is
Yes.
going out in the first. I'm so excited to see it.
I'm actually I'm reviewing that one.
Oh,
Nice. Yeah. So good too. But they'll have their time. We'll talk about them another time. So
This is our time.
This is ours for A Ghost Waits. So, Cloud, where are people finding you on the internet?
Best way to find me is Twitter at McLeod Andrews, and then I also have a website, McLeodAndrews.com, where I think there's like a contact button on that. But those are the two best places. I limit my social media to Twitter.
And my God, can I not wait for the day when you can find me back at the Alamo Draft House in Brooklyn? I'm so ready to get out of the apartment.
I heard that. You know, people down here in Tennessee aren't really staying inside as much, but I am. So
that's good. That's smart.
I'm trying.
So you can watch more movies.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I'm loving it.
I'm like you. I like don't leave the house. Like,
I don't at all anymore. So Adam McLeod, thank you so much again for being here today. And now back to you at the studio, me.
And we're back. I hope you really enjoyed those interviews from Adam Stovall and McLeod Andrews. And in case you were wondering,
Oh my God.
we didn't find anything.
Don't ever play yourself. Don't ever play yourself. Don't ever play yourself. Don't ever play yourself. Congratulations, you played yourself.
There's nothing in the woods. So we'll try again next time. But until the next time, be sure to creep those eyes peeled, my funky fiends, because there's always more coffee and more creepy ghouling on in the Kreature Corner. Bye-bye.